is to ISIS that he's going to a global warming summit.
Well, in Paris.
I mean, how out of touch?
Paris.
And yes, but his focus, listen, President Obama and John Kerry have both said that they think essentially your SUV in the driveway is a greater threat to our security than is ISIS, than is a nuclear Iran, and it makes no sense whatsoever. You know what would be a real rebuke to ISIS? When we kill the terrorist before they carry out another terror attack here at home, murdering innocent Americans.
When you listen to him, he's said today this is a barbarous group, that they're a serious threat, that they must be destroyed. Do you think this was in reaction to the criticism he received over his initial reaction to the Paris attacks, or do you take him at his word on what he said today?
Well, look, he's finally using the adjectives for ISIS that he usually reserves for Republicans and for conservatives, so I guess that's a step in the right direction. But at the end of the day, he still refuses to utter the words radical Islamic terrorism. He still has no strategy for defeating ISIS. And he still wants to bring to America tens of thousands of Syrian Muslim refugees, even after his own FBI director admitted this administration cannot vet the refugees to ensure they're not ISIS terrorists. That doesn't make any sense.
Let me shift gears with you now to the politics, because there's been an extraordinary shift in the presidential race. You may be familiar with it. And it inures to your benefit. I mean, all the headlines today.
This is a Fox News Alert. Chicago on edge, bracing for protests as a graphic video is released. Be warned, some viewers may find this extremely graphic. The video showing a white cop shooting and killing a black teen. That officer, Jason Van Dyke, just charged with first-degree murder. And in that video from 2014, 17-year-old Laquan McDonald can be seen walking away from police armed with a small knife. Officer Van Dyke then opens fire, hitting McDonald 16 times. The on-the-record legal panel is here. Former homicide detective and criminal defense attorney Ted Williams, former prosecutor Katie Fang. Ted, first to you, 16 times. He gets out of a car and opens fire 6 seconds later. He's fired 16 rounds in 14 seconds.
Well, Greta, I can tell you I'm outraged about this, because this happened in October of 2014. We're just learning about this young man being shot 16 times by this officer. And when you look at the video, this kid is not.
Well, I mean, don't you want a thorough, complete? I mean, like, I want the right investigation. I'm scandalized by what I see on the video, but taking a year for investigation, I mean, that's the least of the problems.
It's the least of the problems, but it showed that, as far as I'm concerned, there was a cover-up in that city of this. They could have brought this out a lot sooner. They didn't. You
know, I'm actually surprised, Katie. When I was practicing law, they wouldn't release any videos or anything until after it's been introduced into evidence. We get this video, and there hasn't even been a trial. It's a stunning video.
It's a stunning video. It's shocking. He literally, Jason Van Dyke, is that bad apple in every bunch that we talk about. And he's the reason why cops get a bad name in terms of the violation of people's rights. I mean, the poor Laquan McDonald, he's dead. But I actually disagree with Ted. I don't think there was any type of cover-up. It takes a long time to investigate a police shooting properly. And the thing that I'm worried about is, was there a rush to indict him for first-degree murder to avoid riots in the streets of Chicago? If I were his defense attorney, I would be all over that.
You know what, though, Katie? But, Katie, according to what's being released, is that he was shot from 10 feet away. So, you know, it's very hard to say that a police officer would be in reasonable fear. He's there armed. He's with another police officer who's armed. Now, he had a knife, but it says small knife. But nonetheless, 10 feet away is not is quite a distance to shooting someone.
It is quite a distance away. And, Katie, you may disagree with me, but you had this video. Any other person, if it wasn't a police officer, you had a video of a police officer being shot this way, you wouldn't take a damn year to do an investigation. You would have moved a lot faster.
They didn't wait a year to do the investigation. I mean, I don't know what took so long, but
I just don't think it should have taken so long, Greta. I think this is outrageous. I think the city leaders have some responsibility to bring this kind of thing to the public's attention, and it doesn't take a year to do it.
I guess now that we have it, I don't see that they tried to hide it. This was always going to come out. As far as I know, they settled with the family of the young man who was $5 million. But I mean, like the facts are pretty stunning. I mean, apparently, what happened, according to the facts in the Chicago Tribune, is that he fired 16 rounds in 14 seconds. He was reloading his gun when another officer told him to stop. Katie?
The entire factual scenario. Yeah, the entire factual scenario is absurd. He was surrounded by 5 other cops. Now, Laquan McDonald was armed with a knife and had PCP in his system, which we know leads to paranoia and hallucinations. But the reality is they were trying to corral Laquan McDonald. He had taken a knife and stabbed the tire and stabbed the windshield of a police squad.
Katie, who gives a damn? He wasn't a threat to the police officers. A police officer can shoot a person if they're a threat to the police officer or to them or another citizen. You can't just assassinate somebody like this guy was assassinated.
I think the important fact, if I were on a jury, is that he was fired from 10 feet away, according at least to the report, and that's 10 feet away, and he's armed with a gun, and there are other police officers there, and that he unloaded his gun. He unloaded the gun. The guy's on the ground after the first or second shot, and he's reloading.
But we must make sure we're clear here to the public. There are some wonderful men and women on police forces. This guy is not representative of those men and women.
He will get his trial, and the jury will have a chance to consider it. But indeed, that is so true. I've been down to that police memorial where there were more than 21,000 names etched on there. But this officer will get his trial. Ted and Katie, thank you.
He will.
Breaking tonight in a Kelly File exclusive, we have new reaction from a top GOP presidential candidate after President Obama today suggested he is ready to take a tougher stand against the Islamic State terror group, yet then made a pivot, sort of, to climate change. Listen.
This barbaric terrorist group poses a serious threat to all of us. It cannot be tolerated. It must be destroyed. We cannot and we will not succumb to fear. Next week, I will be joining President Hollande and world leaders in Paris for the Global Climate Conference. What a powerful rebuke to the terrorists it will be.
Joining me now, presidential candidate and Republican senator from Texas, Ted Cruz. Senator, good to see you tonight. So President Obama came out and tried to strike a tougher tone on the subject of ISIS today. What did you make of it?
Well, Megyn, it's good to be with you. You know, it's gotten to the point where I don't think Saturday Night Live can even parody this president anymore. A couple of weeks ago, he went overseas and he said he's not interested in America leading. He's not interested in America winning. He doesn't have time for that. And now he's saying what a powerful rebuke it is.
We're about Ted Cruz and cruise control in Iowa. Take a look at the numbers for the viewers who haven't seen it. Ted Cruz is now basically tied for first. He's behind Donald Trump by 2 points, but man, you're right there in the margin of error in Iowa, besting Carson and the rest of the field by at least 5 points. What do you make of it? What do you attribute your surge?
Well, listen, the energy and momentum we're seeing both in Iowa and nationally are nothing short of breathtaking. And this is a continuation of what has been happening steadily after the third debate, after the fourth debate, which is that we're seeing conservatives unite behind our campaign. What Washington has always wanted is to divide conservatives, to have us splintered. A chunk of conservatives here, a chunk of evangelicals, a chunk of libertarians, a chunk of Tea Party folks. It's a mistake we've made over and over and over again, whether it was Bob Dole or John McCain or Mitt Romney. Every time we listen to the voice of run to the middle, we get clobbered. It doesn't work. They're all good, honorable men, but what they didn't work. And I think what Republican primary voters are looking for is the strongest proven conservative, someone who's a consistent conservative, someone who's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and also someone who can unite all three legs of the Republican stool that can
are you in trouble now on the
fiscal
NSA
conservatives,
vote?
Social conservatives, and national security conservatives.
You voted to undo the NSA, which is now you're getting hit by some on the right. But you're the mainstream moderate guy. They say you voted to undo the NSA protection.
Now let's
and you should have moved to the right on that.
Let's speak the truth. I'm not getting hit by anyone on the right. I'm getting hit by a PAC. By a PAC supporting Marco Rubio.
Our leaders must keep America safe. But when Ted Cruz had the chance to fight Barack Obama's dangerously weak anti-terror policies, he didn't.
Marco Rubio's PAC is doing this because they desperately want to change the discussion from his longtime support of President Obama's massive amnesty plan. This PAC ad by Rubio's supporter, where they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, listen, what it really is, Megyn, is it's a sign of desperation. They want to try to change the topic because I think Marco's campaign is determined that his longtime support of Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama's amnesty plan, particularly making it easier to bring Syrian Muslim refugees into this country, that they're now worried about it politically, so they want to change it with a false attack act.
And the latest polls show the public of 67% there against letting the refugees in. Senator Ted Cruz, it's always great talking to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Megyn. It's great to be with you.
Bernie Sanders, United States Senator from the state of Vermont. I want to welcome everybody to the state of Vermont, but when you come up in the wintertime, make sure you bring some warm clothes. It's a little bit colder than here in South Carolina. I have 4 kids. I have 7 beautiful grandchildren. My wife Jane and I have been married for 27 years. I am running for President of the United States because I believe that in our great country we can do a lot better for working people and for poor people than we are currently doing. I think, as many of you know, we are economically a lot better off today under President Obama than we were 7 years ago. Seven years ago, we were losing about 800,000 jobs a month. 7 years ago, the world's financial system was on the verge of collapse. So we have made some good progress, and we should be proud of that. But what we should also remember, that we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, but most people don't know that because a lot of that wealth rests in the hands of a few. Many, many people have very little. In America today, we should not have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. In America today, we should not have 29 million people without any health insurance, and many more with large deductibles and co-payments. In America today, we should not have a situation where 51% of African American high school graduates between 17 and 20 are unemployed or underemployed. And in America today, we should not have more people in jail than any other country on earth. So I think it makes a lot more sense for us to be investing in education and jobs rather than jails and incarceration. And in America, we should not be seeing what we see on our television sets in terms of what some police officers have done to unarmed people. That we should not be seeing. And we need major criminal justice reform in this country. All Americans should know when they walk down the street, they're not going to be harassed by police departments. They're not going to be unfairly arrested. So I want to see us as a nation which does not have more people in jail than any other country, but has the best educated population on earth. And that is why I believe that in the year 2015-2016, we should make public colleges and universities tuition free. I want to see every child in South Carolina, regardless of the income of his or her family, know that if they study hard in school, they pay attention, they will be able to make it to college, regardless of the income of their family. There are some people out there, I'm not going to be political, who talk about cutting Social Security or cutting Medicare. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me when people are trying to get by on $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 a year. We've got to expand Social Security, not cut it. I just want to thank all say a few words, and I look forward to working with all of you to make sure that our great country fulfills its promise for all of our people and creates the kind of nation that you and I know we can become. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.